Hey, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. One more day into the new year of 2026 to go. I've decided that we will, here on occasion, we'll discuss scriptures from the Bible um, and just that scripture. Um, you can actually get a lot of information just out of one scripture. And what better scripture to start with than the very first scripture found in the Bible? Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. First of all, let's do this. Let's read that. So Genesis 1:1. This comes from the New World Translation, and it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Now, if you're used to using the King James version, there it says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Okay, very similar passages. Well, what's the meaning of that? Genesis 1:1. Well, this opening passage of the Bible states two important truths. First, the heavens and the earth, or the material universe, had a beginning. Second, they were created by God. Um, we know this, even Revelation chapter 4, verse 11 says, "You are worthy, Jehovah our God, to receive the glory and the honor and the power, because you created all things, and because of your will they came into existence and were created." The Bible doesn't reveal how long ago God created the universe, nor does it explain how he created it. But it does explain that he created the universe by means of his vast dynamic energy and his awe-inspiring power. In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 26, we read, "Lift up your eyes to heaven and see who has created these things. It is the one who brings out their army by number. He calls them all by name because of his vast dynamic energy and his awe-inspiring power. Not one of them is missing." Now, the word created is translated from a Hebrew verb that is used exclusively to describe an activity that God performs. Regarding this word, the HCSB Study Bible states this: in its active form, the Hebrew verb bara, meaning to create, never has a human subject. Thus, bara signifies a work that is uniquely God's work. Now, in the Bible, only Jehovah God is referred to as the Creator. Now, here's the context of Genesis 1:1. This first book of the Bible, this first verse in the book of Genesis, introduces the creation account found in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. Now, from Genesis 1:1 all the way to Genesis chapter 2, verse 4, the Bible briefly relates the steps that God took in creating the earth and all living things on it, including the first man and woman. After this general outline, the Bible gives a more detailed account of the creation of man and woman, and you can find that detailed account from Genesis chapter 2, starting at verses 7 all the way to verse 25. Now, Genesis describes God's creative work as progressing over a period of 6 days. Now, these were not literal days of 24 hours, but time periods of unspecified length. Indeed, the word day can apply to time periods other than 24 hours. We can see this here. Let's read this at Genesis chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, "This is the history of the heavens and the earth in the time they were created, in the day that Jehovah God made earth and heaven." So here in this scripture, we see that it uses the word day synonymously with time and sums up all of God's creative activity over the previous 6 days as occurring on one day. Now, here's some misconceptions about Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Here's the first misconception. God created the material universe a few thousand years ago. Well, the Bible does not indicate when the universe was created. The statement at Genesis 1:1 does not conflict with modern estimates that the universe is billions of years old. Now, referring to the period marked by the Hebrew term translated "in the beginning," the Expositor's Bible commentary states this: "The length or duration of the period is not specified by the term." That can be found in the Revised Edition, Volume 1, on page 51 of that commentary. So here's another misconception. Genesis 1:1 indicates that God is a Trinity because the Hebrew word for God used in this verse is plural. Here's a fact. The title God translates the Hebrew word Elohim, which is plural to denote majesty or excellence, not a number of people. The New Catholic Encyclopedia acknowledges that the plural Elohim was used at Genesis 1:1 always takes a singular verb, indicating that, like the royal we, the plural of excellence, not a number, is meant. That can be found in the second edition, volume 6, page 272 of the New Catholic Encyclopedia. So there we have it. Explanation of Genesis 1:1, and we'll address another scripture the next time we do another video. So we thank everybody for tuning in. Again, we have the comment section. If you'd like to hear a certain Bible verse discussed or any other topic, put it into the comments, and then we'll go from there. But hope you guys have a great one, and we'll see you next time.